Happy New Year. We are now officially in the year of 2023. And another example of how your story is controlled outside of you by people that are much higher in control and in power than you are. In the 1700s, and I believe it was 1750 something, we changed from the Julian calendar to, which I believe is now the Edwardian or Gregorian, I forget, but to our current calendar. So before that, like in the 1700s, if you were around, you would have still celebrated the beginning of the year in March. So the calendar started in spring, and they went by the astrological signs to go by the year. And so you would have started the year like in Aries instead of where we're at now. So it's changed without you knowing that that's an influence on your life to this very day. Those things control your life. And that's where we get the term April Fool, because the people of the country, the farmers and such, did not want to switch to that new calendar. They wanted to stay to the one they had always used to plant and grow, and like new babies came in the new year, and new, everything, new growth, new everything. And so the townspeople were very much willing to change to this new thing, and they would pressure and make fun of the people who didn't do that, and they would call them pagans and things like that. So in the springtime, when those farmers were celebrating the new year, to them, new growth and everything, they would make fun of them. They would go to the farmers markets and make fun of them and ridicule them until finally they accepted and wouldn't do business with them. So they finally had to adjust to the current calendar that we use. In fact, we dropped 2 days in September from the shift in those calendars. And that was just a king wanted to appease the Roman way of ruling and what we refer to as pagan. And again, these are titles that people put on people. You, within your story, you believe what you're told, and life keeps you so busy that usually you don't stop and question things. And so I'm a questioner, obviously, and you could do your own research on this. When did we switch to the current kind of calendar and record keeping? And I'm sure you'll find a lot of information about that if you're more interested. I told you we'd talk more about you and what you are starting in this particular video. And this probably will be a place where I lose some of you, and yet some of you might not be at all surprised and go, well, yeah, I already knew that. So what you are is energy. You are energy within this reality that we're in, excuse me, called humankind on planet Earth. Everything in our world vibrates. And if you research metaphysics and things like that, and different sorts of forms of physics, you're going to understand that these things, this is science, this is nothing I'm making up. Everything vibrates at a certain level. And the higher the vibration determines how solid something is. So the density is determined by the level of vibration of the particles that items are made up of, including us. Our cellular structure is vibrating all the time. That's why sometimes you feel really good and sometimes you feel not so bueno, right? When you're sick, you are at a very low vibration. When you are depressed, you're at a low vibration. Anger, low vibration. You're at a higher vibration when you're happy and excited, like in a happy, excited. Fear is a low vibration. There's a huge effort being made continually on this planet to keep you in a state of fear and anxiety. I think a lot of people right now are finally becoming aware of this sense of something is just around the corner. Something's going to happen, a shift of some kind, a major event or several major events that they can sense it, but they can't necessarily determine what it is. Like when you say you can't put your finger on it. So that understanding that part of you, that vibrational existence, that energy, the part of you that we call being alive, we refer to oftentimes as a spirit or the true you. That's eternal. You don't, you can stop right here and say, what do you know about it? Blah, blah, blah. And the only thing that I can tell you that I have, that for me personally, is that I had the opportunity to die at age 4, leave my body, and be told to go back into my body. And I very much did not want to do that. That's a whole video in itself, and I won't get into that today. But you have a greater purpose. You have a reason you're here and right at this time. And I can tell you, you are here on purpose. You chose to come here. Don't care if you believe me or not. I'm here to try and help you face what's coming. You have some major decisions to make. And understanding this part of you, if you really can get to the point of understanding this, will help you tremendously. Because you're going to be able to tell the difference between truth and lies. Lies always, a good lie always contains an element of truth to it. So until you know how to sort that out and tell what's true, what's false, you're usually going to get caught up in the lie of the world. And the world is a lie. The trick is you came here thinking you'd have no problem discerning a lie from the truth. You came in as this soul to operate this machinery we call a body that has an ego attached to it, like an operating equipment or a hard drive, to make the equipment operate and try and keep it safe within this environment we call a planet. But your soul, the real you, is eternal and cannot be damaged. However, you can hand that over. You can relinquish your soul. And there's a great effort being made to have that happen. The thing is, nobody, and I mean no entity, no person, no anything, can steal your soul. It has to be given away. And people are continually giving away parts of their true self all the time. You do it through social media, you do it through TV, you do it through all kinds of countless ways. And so because of that, you're easily manipulated. Most people think they're not easily manipulated. We are all easily manipulated. It's part of our environment. And I'll give you an example. In my lifetime alone, I've watched things go from black and white TV that you changed by hand. I was the remote control. Tammy, go turn it to channel such and such. And we had maybe 5 channels tops. Thought that was a big deal. Then we went to, and we had transistor radios that then turned into Walkmans, CDs that were, or like cassette tapes, CDs, cassette tapes, 8-track tapes, then CDs, then little tiny, I can't even remember what they're called. What were those called? Do you know? They're tinier than a CD.
Oh, the iPods were the first. No, they're like the little bitty.
They're like, no, they had, see, you don't even know. You're so young, you don't even know these things. They lasted for they're like CDs, but tinier. And you put them in a player.
I do know, but I don't remember what they're called.
I've got people watching this, I guarantee you'll remember. So this has been a progress. Here's the thing that most people don't realize. Technology that you're seeing and handling and using right now has been known about and been withheld until someone can make a lot of money on it. And it's released at times in order to control populations and to control which way this next world order will go. And we are in a phase right now where there is a great effort being made for a new world order. They're not trying to hide it. The World Economic Forum has literally posted this information. You can go in and look it up. You can look up Klaus Schwab, even what our new King of England believes in, and what their hopes are, where they want to take us. And basically, it's to turn us kind of into like a cyborg. They want to make you more robotic than human. And I know that sounds far-fetched and crazy, but it really isn't. And there's evidence of it everywhere. And they're going to sell it mostly to younger people, and then bring in a new wave of young people, babies and stuff, that will not know any different. Because you only know what you've experienced. You only know your story. And until you dissect your story, and you go through and say what's true, what's not, what was controlled, what was not, you're not going to be able to make sense of that. And there's going to be a great effort, and I think through babies and small children, to probably lead us into another quarantine, another lockdown, and it'll be to protect us or babies or something. I feel that very strongly, because I just on the other night heard on the news that, hey, there's a new flu going around. It's elderly and young small children are super susceptible to it. And I thought, well, there you go, because they started doing this with COVID, and maybe they'll go a different route. Maybe enough people will start figuring this out that then they'll have to go a different route. But they want your freedoms. They want you to give those up for freedom. And this always comes as a result of some major event. So like whenever there's a major event, it's not the event itself that you need to look at. It's what completely happens after the event. What is the first thing that's a major shift in society? So like when we had 9/11, they introduced the Patriot Act. And when you look at the Patriot Act, they introduced it saying it was for your safety and the safety of others. It always comes down to playing off of fear, extreme fear, and then we'll provide the safety. It's okay, you're safe with us. Well, what it's done is it's provided an opportunity for you to have absolutely no privacy. And then we have a government that is continually passing laws and passing bills and things that nobody has approved of, not following the protocol that should be taken under the guise of it's for the greater good of everybody. And a lot of people don't even understand our government and how it works. It's been strategically done through the school system. We got to focus on this over here instead of what's really valuable. And, you know, the school systems have to follow those regulations because they're federal institutions. And it just goes on and on and on. And I'm not going to get you completely down a rabbit hole because I don't think you'll sleep at night. But I do want you to realize one thing is that, and we're going to elaborate more on that in the next video. This is part 4, by the way, on what your vibrational level does to what you can and can't get done in a human body. And we're going to talk about that. And so I might have lost you on this one, and that's okay. You can go right back to doing what you normally do, or you can follow me into number 5, and we'll talk a little more about this. So thank you for listening.